Hi, I'm Ramakrishna Reddy, creator of publicspeaking.com and author of 5 books related to public speaking. In today's video, we are going to analyze how the 2021 Miss Universe won the final question and answer session and became Miss Universe 2021. Fortunately or unfortunately, the Miss Universe 2021 is from India, Harnaaz Sandhu, and I don't have any bias that she's from India, and that's why I'm shooting this video. I thought it would be fun to analyze that public speaking situation because all the effort, all the hard work, and everything she did from the starting till the final stage boiled down to how she spoke clearly on the final stage. It all boils down to public speaking, and this is a perfect case study for us to analyze and learn what worked and what did not work. Alright, so here was a situation. I don't know how many of you watched it, but there was a common question all the 3 final contestants needed to answer. It was a perfect way to assess someone because the question is going to be the same, and how each contestant is going to answer determines who will become the winner, right? So the question was this: what would be your advice to a young woman who's watching this and how to deal with the pressures they're facing today, right? It was not exactly word to word, but that's the idea of the question. Like, what advice would you give to a young woman who is watching this on how to deal with the pressures they are facing today, right? So that's the question. So there were 3 contestants: Miss India, Miss South Africa, and Miss Paraguay, right? So we will go in the order in which they answered. So Miss South Africa came first, right? So Steve Harvey asked this question and each of the contestants had 30 seconds to answer, right? So what did Miss South Africa do? She just jumped right in. As soon as the question was asked, she just jumped right in and went on to say that she would encourage all the young women to choose courage over conflict for every opportunity that they are facing with, right? And then she said that from the beginning or whatever ancient times, that women always had it in them to achieve what they wanted to, but the world made them believe that they cannot. And then she stopped, right? So if you analyze this, what she did, she jumped straight in without giving any thought to the question or the answer that she's gonna give. And then she started with a solution, which is good. In that pressure situation, giving a solution is not at all easy. So I really appreciate her presence of mind and the thoughtfulness. And then she ended this. Then she only said 2 sentences, right? So she said courage over conflict for every opportunity that the young women will face. And then she said that women had always in them to achieve what they want to do. But then she said that the world made us believe that we cannot, and then she stopped. So it was more or less a negative way to end, and I would say she almost reversed the structure. She said the solution first and then the problem next, and then she ended there. Still, it was a good answer, I would say, and she only took 20 seconds. That has to be noted. I timed the seconds that she used. She had 30 seconds, but she finished it in 20 seconds, which I felt there was a lot of scope that she could have added more advice, right? So that was her part. So she walked off, and then came Miss India, and Steve Harvey asked the same question: what advice would you give to young women who are watching this and how to deal with the pressures they're facing today, right? And I was watching her. She took 4 seconds. It was around 3 to 4 seconds. I would almost say it was 4 seconds. And it was clearly visible. She was very smart, and I always recommend people to pause before you answer. It does 2 things. One, she understood the problem statement, the question. She understood the question. I always tell, whether it's public speaking or it's life or it's a project management, understand the problem statement. So she took that valuable, I would say that was a differentiator for her. The 3 to 4 seconds to understand the problem statement, and also in that, by doing that, she got more attention from the audience. Even for prepared speeches, if you get the 3 to 4 seconds before you start the speech, you are creating that awesome pause where people stop doing what they're doing and the full attention is on you. So every word from the get-go, people are going to listen to what you're saying, isn't it? So Miss India started off by defining the problem statement. She's defined what is the pressure that young women are facing, and she generalized it to youth, which is fair enough. But at least she had the thought to tell that the today's world, the pressure young women and youth are facing is they don't believe in themselves, right? Now, my point is, whether you agree that that is the pressure young people are facing or not is debatable. That's not the point at all. The point is, she addressed what is the problem according to her point of view, right? Now, I can debate that believing in yourself is not the problem. I can say self-confidence is the problem, right? Someone can say social media addiction is the problem. But that's okay. Nobody's going to question you on that because it's her point of view. That's Miss India's point of view that not believing in yourself is the problem, right? But she defined what according to her is the pressure. That's awesome, right? So the first two things, she just hit it hard. She took the pause and then she defined the problem statement, and then she went on to give the solution. She said that don't compare yourself. You are unique. That itself is a beautiful thing, and don't compare yourself, right? So this is spot on. She gave a solution and basically the advice that she wants to give to the youth. And then she got the confidence. You should watch it. She will say that this is what I want you to understand. So basically she ended her advice, but then the confidence kicked in. You have to see her voice changes. She is just unstoppable at that time. And then she goes on to say, you are the leader of your life, you are the voice of your own. And then she just ends it with a high note. And then she says that she gives her own example. If I didn't believe in myself, I would not have reached this stage right now. And she concludes the speech. It was perfect speech, I would say. I guess it was pretty hard for someone to beat it. Of course, there is always one level up. You can better your game, but the way the structure, if you have observed that she defined the problem, she gave the solution, she added on more points, and then she gave her own example to support her point, and then she ended, and I counted her seconds. She utilized 28 seconds, right? So she utilized her full time, and then she left the stage. Next comes Paraguay. Now I want to give the analysis of Miss Paraguay as well, because there is an important lesson to be learned. So Steve Harvey asked the same question. So what advice would you give to young women who are watching this today to deal with the pressures that's facing today? And she goes, she had a translator, so she had an advantage. She knew English, but she still had a translator. So she had time to think. You know, that's blessing in disguise, right? And this is how she jumped on. As soon as the translator ended the question, who translated in Paraguay, I believe, she started off by saying, I faced a lot of issues in my life and I overcame them. So every young woman watching this today, you have to join forces and overcome any situation. No matter what the situation, you have to overcome and you will be successful. Ra, 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 ra. I mean... First of all, I congratulate them. They are in that stage. They have accomplished a lot in life. I'm nobody to criticize them in any way. But then, coming to that question, I don't think she answered it at all. She just said that she overcame difficult situations. She did not say what was a difficult situation. Even a single word would have helped support her point, because she did not say what the difficult situation was at all. And then she just said, I could do it, you do it. That's all she is trying to say. It could have been done in 5 seconds. She just took 25 seconds to say the same thing. There was not even a single point that someone can take away and use in their life. So that was about Paraguay. And so the results, I'm sure you would have seen the results. And needless to say, Miss India won the Miss Universe. And then... the second one went to Paraguay, and the third place went to South Africa. Now, personally, I felt South Africa should have got the second place because she had content. She answered the question. even though it was not perfectly structured. But the point is, Paraguay won second. And do you know why? Because she had a lot of emotions in her speech. Even though it was rara and there was nothing concrete in the speech, the emotion was so strong. You could feel that energy the way she was speaking, and that's probably the reason why she got the second place. Or there could be other factors beyond the control of those question and answer session, because I don't know the judging criteria properly, but if you see those only the final Q&A for the top 3, I felt that the emotion was pretty high in Miss Paraguay's speech versus Miss South Africa's speech, and that's probably would have got her the second place. Anyway, so I hope you got a lot of valuable tips in this real-time case study, because this is proof, right, that the ideas that the winner had used works, right? So I hope you found this video valuable, and I hope you implement the best practices of public speaking in your life, and I hope you win a lot of laurels in your life. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day and have a great rest of the year. Thank you. Bye-bye.